were doing what ended up being about a 3-week trip down the Moisey River, and about halfway through the trip, a canoe was wrapped on a rock in a rapid and pinned there. So people and gear bailed out and were mostly recovered. Eventually the force of the water folded the canoe basically inside out, cracking the gunnels. Both stems were torn open and one side of the canoe was torn open. So we were able to recover all the parts of the canoe, but they were quite shattered at the time. We hadn't planned for this, obviously, and we hadn't packed any large amount of extra material for repairing canoes. There was no real option to change the route or to evacuate across land. Using largely a roll of string that was waxed, a Leatherman that had a Robinson bit, and a knowledge of how to use the sap from the fir trees. In less than 48 hours, we had the canoe back in the water. It completed the trip and was able to withstand all the same abuse that the other canoes were, in that we weren't babying it along. It looked good enough that when we got back to Sept-Îles, we bothered to put it on the top of the car and bring it home. We've still kept it as a memento nonetheless. It's still in the barn today.
We build the canoes, we paddle the canoes, and we know a lot of the history of canoeing and who's been where, when. When the current Camp Temagami started getting together and building up its resources, it needed some wooden canoes. It hadn't had any new canoes for quite a while. So I drove up to Temagami, figured out a plan, and started making canoes for the new Camp Temagami. Some years we do 10 or 12 new ones. Another year only 5. Some years we made 15 or 16. So we've kept track of all the canoes we've made. The biggest problem is resources are harder to get. It's harder to get good varnish, good paint, good caulking that isn't toxic. Brass tacks, silicon bronze nails, all that kind of thing are scarcer and scarcer.
I'm not interested in convincing anyone that our canoes are the best. In my heart, I'm pretty confident that's how I feel. But when people see them in the shop or see them on the trail, there's like an excitement or an interest in, oh, like, you guys do this river in these canoes? Or like there's a level of surprise that we're traveling in rugged, remote areas with them.
Using these canoes requires a style of travel that makes you more connected to the landscape. You have to go a bit slower. You have to think about where you put it down. You have to think about how you're going to paddle through the rocks. It takes you to a slightly different pace of travel. For me, it makes me feel more connected and more like I have a greater sense of what's happening around me.
So if you pick a line, you're either going to line from shore, you're going to paddle if you can, or you're going to portage. But if you're making decisions with your canoe in mind, to take care of the canvas, to take care of the material, the inevitable fallout is that you yourself are going to be safer. And that's huge. That's what it's all about.
In my lifetime, post-Second World War, all of the technology changed, and you had aluminum and fiberglass and every other thing to make a canoe out of. People always want the newest thing with the least trouble. They want to get right to the top of a activity as quickly as they can. Whereas if you're using a wooden canoe, it takes you a number of seasons to feel confident. Your knowledge builds on itself every year. You get more watchful for making mistakes, not making mistakes.
We're not doing anything particularly different to make the canoe beautiful. Like, the canoes are beautiful. Wood has color in it. Wood has grain. Like, we're attracted to it. It's nothing skillful that we're doing. We choose the wood, we shape it, but they just kind of happen to be beautiful. Like, they're curvy, they're nice, they look fast. Aesthetically, it just looks like it's gonna cut through the water well. And they're not equal, they're all different. Like, they just happen to be very good looking. You sand it up nice, you slap some varnish on it, it turns shiny, but like, it's just the nature of the canoe is that it's amazing, and we just get to be the facilitators to put it together.
It's hard to feel close to the forest. When you're walking through it and looking at every tree as a potential place for firewood or indication of what's happening, if the leaves are beginning to turn. All those things you're much more tuned to when you're on the trail. Depend on the land for your water, your sunlight, fire for food. Same story again, you're connected in many ways to the environment around you. So we've been building in the shop since 1988. We're still going strong.